Now, if you notice, Richie Trozer is the one that sees the most consistent version of it whenever he does see it. There is the one time he sees Paul Bunyan that he doesn't really believe that he saw, but that was definitely something he saw. But he's the one that consistently sees it in the same shape. Everyone else sees it as something different every time they see it. Richie is the one that makes it pick a shape each time they see it. So, if you notice, Richie is the one that wears glasses. He wears contacts when they're older, and he has a burning sensation whenever he comes back to the area because of the smoke hole. Because he has a memory of the smoke getting into it. He's the only one that saw it with Mike. He saw it come from the macroverse. No, you don't. Watch out. Come on, get in there. He saw it come from the macroverse in a vision with Mike. And why do you think that is? Because Richie is the eyes. Mike is the historian. Mike is the one you go to for history. Richie is the one you go to for visions. So, Richie has these voices that also hurt it. Hey, Richie has these voices that also hurt it. Because what are they? They're Richie using his imagination to attack. Like how Eddie imagines battery acid. It's not really battery acid. He's pretending it is. So belief is what you attack it with. Not what are you doing? You don't attack it with real weapons. You attack him with weapons you believe are real. Which, that sounds crazy. But it is a creature of belief. It is a creature of belief. What is it described to be? A chalice, a glamour, a projection of the deadlights. Like when they see it as a spider, they only see it as a spider because that's the closest thing their human mind could process it as being. Some kind of weird spider thing. So Eddie is also the navigator. Eddie Kasprek is the navigator. He's the one that whenever you go in the sewers, you ask Eddie, point, lead, direct, and Eddie will know where to go. Which is why whenever he dies, when they encounter it the second time in the sewers at his lair, it's kind of a poetic thing. Because with it finally being dead, there's no need for anyone to ever come back here. And also they leave Eddie's body at the lair. And that's kind of symbolic, It's like there's no reason for anyone to need to know how to get here anymore. And that's sad, but it's right. It's sad, but at the end of the book, it's like it's the right thing to do. Cut off any way to get back, and cut off anybody who knows how to cut off anybody that knows the directions there, because that chapter is over. It's finally over. So Eddie loses his arm when he confronts it, pretending that his inhaler is still battery acid. But he doesn't have the same belief he did back in 1958. It's not hitting the same way it did in 1958. And trying the same thing, definitely not going to work. So it eats his arm. It eats his arm like it ate George's. It eats his arm like it ate George's arm back in 1958. Also, during the time when they're running in the sewers to confront it, this is when the two time periods are closest together when they're running, because they run right back to back. Each event is symbolically resonated back to back to back to back to back. They're not shown like, okay, this is what happened in 1958, and then after that they show you this is what happened in 1985. No, they're happening at the same time, almost simultaneously. So back in 1958, whenever Henry, Victor, and Belch, they chased them into the sewers because they were told by it to chase. Wait, and they were manipulated to go into the sewer by Henry. While they're looking for them, they're attacked by Frankenstein's monster, and Belch jumps in the way. Victor gets killed. And Belch jumps in the way, and for that he has half of his face ripped off. We're never shown this happening, but we hear their screams from the loser's point of view, And Henry talks about it in the adult timeline, but we're never explicitly shown them being attacked by the Frankenstein monster. We're just told it happened. And Henry feels a lot of guilt about that, as much guilt as he can feel, I guess, because I think he feels guilty about, like Belch and Victor dying in the sewers, but he never really is like, oh, it's my fault they died in the sewers. No, but he does feel guilty that it happened. But when they're in the sewers in both timelines, that's when, like I said, they're running almost simultaneously. Like each chapter, they're going back and forth because that's just how. So when it throws Bill into the deadlights in the kid timeline, it's only Bill that he throws in the deadlights because Bill wins the ritual of Chud in the kid timeline. He just doesn't finish it off because he thinks that he did. But when the turtle Morton, what's the nigga name? Martin, one of those two. The turtle's like, and you know the turtle because they've been talking about the turtle the whole fucking book. The turtle actually shows up in the Dark Tower as the same character, Morton. He's behold the turtle of enormous girth, on his shell he holds the earth. And that's, it's connected to a bigger poem about the guardians of because it is like the precursor novel to Stephen King's larger universe, his expanded universe. It is like one of the first novels to really touch on some of the key elements that he would later develop in the other series. Like, Pennywise shows up again in like another book, or, like there's graffiti, Pennywise lives in another book. And these are different books. Like, Patrick Hockstetter. Also, Patrick Hockstetter, the kid that dies in this book. Another character named Patrick Hockstetter shows up in another Firestarter. Yeah, another character named Patrick Hockstetter shows up in Firestarter. Derry is actually revisited in a book called Insomnia. Yeah, and there's another one. I'm not sure the title of the other one, but this is one of the first novels Stephen King made that touches on elements that he would further straighten in while he wrote, like because the Dark Tower was always going to be one of the projects that was his modus operandi, that was his MO, his magnum opus. Yeah, that was his MO. So that's something he always had the back idea of while he was writing every other story that he wrote. So the smokehole was a way for them to try to figure out how to defeat it when they were kids, because they had a clubhouse that they built underground, and they had found a book at the library. Bennett found a book about ancient rituals to kill monsters, and that's where they discovered that it is a talus, a glamour. And they also discovered a ritual of Chud in that book, though they don't know what it means until later. So while they're having the smoke hole, the smoke fills the clubhouse, and they all leave one by one, and Richie notices Mike is still there, and that the room is way bigger. And that's like the only thought he has when that's the last thought he has until him and Mike are in the past, and they see it land on Earth, and that's it crashing from the macroverse. That's the physical version of it crashing into the macroverse, because it and the spider, it and the turtle, Morton, they are the antithesis of each other. Like he says, the turtle threw up the Earth by mistake, and the spider went inside to eat the people that lived on Earth because they were just fucked up. The turtle and the spider are said to be enemies. They're arch enemies because of that. Well, really, the turtle is shown to be kind of too passive to really be an opposing force. They're always referred to some other that's past the turtle, that's protecting people. Like when Georgie goes into the basement to get the turtle wax to put the wax for his own boat. One of the things he notes is the turtle wax with the logo of the turtle on it, because she's at the flood, there's no lights, so he's scared of the monster in the basement. That's the form it takes when it kills him. Like, also a cool trick that it does when he's talking to him in the sewer, it's not in the movies. Their eyes are yellow when Georgie first starts talking to him. And that's when Georgie is apprehensive. He doesn't want to talk to this clown in the sewer. But when he looks again, the eyes are blue, the same color as Bill's. And subconsciously, he lets his guard down because he's like, I trust people with blue eyes. And that's him subconsciously letting his guard down, and that's when it is able to kill him. Because what is it? It is a telepathic, empathic enemy. It's an empathic enemy. It feeds off emotion. It doesn't kill people just to kill them. It kills them. It scares them before it kills them because, like it says, people taste better after they've been scared. This fear is like a seasoning. And you gotta think about it. Are they really like physically eating it when they say they're eating people? No, we don't know what that means because Patrick Hostetter wakes up while he's being ate, and all that's being said is the feeding begin. Patrick woke up. It began to feed, and there's always so much of a child's corpse that they find. They find like the whole dead body. So if it is eating people physically, it must not really have that much of an appetite. It's not eating people physically. It's eating people spiritually. Because what does it also do when it's not killing people? It's tormenting people. How is it doing it? It's using the voices of the people it killed. Is that just it imitating the people it's killed, or is it that it's eating their spirits and then using those spirits like mannequin, like puppets, or a ventriloquist? It's absorbing their spirits, like kinda. And then using that aspect of them to torment the others around them. Like when it calls that Beverly from the drain, and it says, "I'm Veronica Grogan," or because a lot of the people that die in Derry, it kind of has a claim on their corpse if you think about it. Because when Eddie's as an adult visit the Tracker Brothers baseball field, who shows up? No, I'm serious. I forgot her name, but she's like, "Hey Eddie, it's me. Guess what happened to me? I got killed in a car accident. I got killed by it, and it took my form. No, I got killed in a car accident during a year when it was in hibernation. Why is it able to transform into her and know how she died and use that as a way to scare Eddie? Because Derry is it, and it is Derry. Like whenever Stan sees the dead kids inside my bad, I just really loved that book when I was younger, so I read it a lot. I read it so much. So when Stan sees the dead kids inside the standpipe, the drowned kids, I don't lie, that's the scariest part for me. Because it's just a regular day with him looking for, a scarlet tanger. Maybe it was some kind of bird he was looking for when he was bird watching. And it's just so innocuous how it happens. It could really this sounds like something that would really happen if this was happening. Like, he just notices the standpipe open just a little bit. And being a kid, he's kind of curious. Why is it open? It's never open. Goes to check it out. And he's enticed by the sound of calliope music and the smell of, like a carnival. And something else under that smell. Did you know that smell is I read this somewhere. Smell is a sense. Smell is used in the book It so many times. That's actually a theme in the book, the sense of smell. I don't really have one of those. My sense of smell is fucked up. But that's just kind of weird because it's used as a way it's a weird way that Stephen King plays with that as a motive. So whenever Stan sees, it's not that he's unaware, because Georgie notices that smell too. Because whenever he reaches down in the sewer to grab the boat, he's like, it smells like the carnival and something else too. And he doesn't know what it is. So Stan is aware that there's an underlying smell, a true smell behind the superficial smell of the carnival. But by the time he realizes that, and I should probably be worried about that, he's hearing the damp footsteps of the kids that had drowned. And he's like, who's coming from up there? And they're just so casual about it. Oh, we're the drowned kids. Like, that's not the most terrifying thing. So he ran, but by the time he got to the door was locked. The door was locked. And the kids were getting closer because he can hear their wet footsteps. These are kids that fell into there's a story in Derry. Because there's like a water tower, kind of. This is the city's water supply. Keep that in mind. And these kids were taking a tour of it, because back then you could just walk in and they would give you a tour of the water tower. Probably not a good idea. So they do that, and some kids fell in, and nobody could really rescue them. They just had to swim around until they got exhausted and drowned. So Stan, as a kid, sees these kids, and he's almost caught. until he pulls out his bird book and starts chanting out the names of birds. And while he's doing that, something gives him the door, and he's able to run. He's able to leave out. Now, in the miniseries in the 90s, they show Bill having picked up Stan after that happened, and Stan being too scared to talk about what happened. But in the book, I don't think Stan had anybody to talk to about that, and that's probably one of the reasons he didn't go back. Like, oh my goodness, Stan died in a fucking bathtub. I just put two and two together. That's crazy. So yeah. But see, the thing is, the trauma you picked up while if you were there in 1958 and you were traumatized by it, the best part of that is you didn't experience it after until it came back. But it's probably worse because you're experiencing all the trauma all at once. Because somebody, hey, guess what? What's up? Who is this? Oh, it's Mike. Mike. Patricia, I know a Mike. Mike, which Mike? Black Mike. Patricia, I know a Black Mike. Derry. Oh my goodness, wait. Black Mike from Derry? Patricia, I'm gonna go kill my fucking self. Don't answer any calls. You know, that's gotta be a fucked up night. Cause you haven't even thought about Derry. Ever. Since you moved. All of a sudden, somebody's like, oh yeah, remember the most horrifying thing that you've ever seen in life? It's back. Okay, it's been fun living. I guess I'm done with this bullshit. You know, like, whoa, don't tell me none of that. And he has the most volatile reaction to Mike's phone call because, hey, Stan was the one as a kid that's like, no, I can never accept that it is real. And fuck everybody that does. It takes a lot of convincing to get Stan to, like, quit being a bitch, man. Because, look, Stan is offended by the idea of it. He isn't scared. That just shakes his moral foundation. And you know, like he shook, man. He shook. Don't shake him no more. So like Mike Hanlon is the historian. He's the one in the book that's actually the friend. He's actually like in between parts. There are 4 or 5 parts. There's an interlude with Mike because he's still in Derry and he's been in Derry the whole time. He hasn't forgot shit because you only start to forget about it once you move. So he's in town the entire time and he's trying to find anybody that was living in Derry during specific events, during different portions of its hibernation. During these interludes, it's him giving you this is one time that it was active. This is what happened right before. This is what happened right after. This is the next time. This is another time. And this is the time right before last time. So you have to realize that if you have somebody that's aware that something's wrong and they're collecting evidence of the last times, but nobody in town realizes it because they weren't one of the ones that were aware of it during the last ritual, during the last cycle. They just think that there's this weird dude asking weird questions. But if you really knew the true history of Derry, you would know that there's nothing wrong or weird about what he's doing. So he goes and he asks, there's the fire at the lake spot, and that actually involves his father. There's the Claude hero. The Claude, I don't know how to say his last name, because it sounds like a last name it's like a hero. It might not though. I'm just reading it. I never heard somebody say it out loud. It might be Herooks though. So Claude, and then there's the Bradley Gang massacre in the Kitchener Ironworks tragedy on Easter Sunday. You see, because each time it wakes up and each time it goes to sleep, something tragic involving lots of deaths of innocent people has to happen. It's ritualistic. It's just the way shit goes in there. So one thing that Mike picks up on and notices that no one else does, because he's asking people questions individually. Like during the Bradley Gang murders, people were like, oh yeah, as a matter of fact, I do remember a clown. And he was shooting at them with us. he was using the same type of gun I had. And yet somebody else, they were like, the clown, oh yeah, I saw him. And he was shooting the same type of gun I had. But two people that just talked, they had different types of guns. So what's going on? What's going on? They're not lying. They're not contradicting each other because they both saying that they both remember this clown person. But the only thing different is that the gun the gun they saw the clown using was one that they were using. And I think that's meant to represent that it symbolically, if you live in Derry, you're also it, and it is kind of also you. What? I mean, it makes a little bit of sense. With as much sense as we're giving about it, it makes as much sense as it can. So, another misconception is that it uses the sewers. Like it always uses the sewers. No. I mean, yeah, it does use the sewers, but once you go towards where its layer is, you're no longer in the sewers under the city. You're in like a mine place. You're in like a mine shaft. Because it was there before the sewers got made, and it manipulated the people who made the sewers into making it it's a labyrinth underneath the city that leads to the door with the symbol that's this with the kanji that means child missing right arm. But whenever you see the symbol, you're just gonna see what you fear the most inside the symbol. But it's supposed to be interpreted as child missing right arm. Cause what was Georgia missing? Why are they down there? Why did Bill feel like dragging everybody down there to fight it? Because Georgie got killed by it. What did it take from Georgie? And whenever they leave that door for the last time, and they leave, the only way to get back to that door inside, what is that person missing? It's kind of fucked up. But also, it's kind of right.